This is the front entrance to my completed small vegetable sanctuary. Here is the backside of my completed small vegetable garden sanctuary. I'm gonna keep it level as I work, and I'm going to be building my footings out of 4x4 pressure treated lumber. I'm going to leave the lumber on top of the rocks. Of course, that's the whole point of this. Very inexpensive to do, but it'll extend the life of pressure treated lumber. I won't be sitting in the mud, in other words, where there's a lot of organisms that slowly break it down and start to eat it. So it will extend the life of it. In this corner here, I've installed the lag bolt, so let's go over here and I'll finish it up on this side and show you what I'm using. So these are 3/8 here on the shank, and 6 inches, they're the Spax power lags. You can see I did pilot holes, and there's a pilot hole here too. These would split your wood if you didn't do it. On this particular one, I used a drill bit, 6.5 inches. It was 3/16. You could do 1/4 of an inch, and it would work just fine. Checking for level. Looks good, all 4 corners. The next important thing is to make sure you have a square, so you got to measure the diagonals. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and show you the measurement. So here we've got 138 on this corner, 138. So we want it to be a square, so we're checking the diagonal lengths. I'm in at 138. There we go. So we're at a square. We're good. It's 8 by 8 feet and squared and level. It's ready to be built on. I'm ready to start the framing. I'm using ring shank nails. I'll zoom in on that. You can see that it's at 2 feet. I'm setting them at 2 feet, these 2x3s. What I'm going to do is build this down, nail it in, stand it up, and do all the walls here on this particular platform. It's square, so everything's good there. Okay, done with wall number 1. It's 8 feet. So there it is. I'll build 3 more. This particular wall is 91 inches. It's not 8 feet, so it is 5 inches shorter. Okay, I've got the bare bones of the door on this side of the wall. This is the 4th one. Ready to go. I will frame it when it's in position. Okay, I've got the walls up. You can see the door is on the far side. This is the back end. Okay, I've got the floor nailed in. I've got these corners nailed in all the way up, about foot spacing or so. It's time to take off this temporary bracing. Okay, I'm going to be doing the roof here. These are pre-drilled pilot holes, and I'm going to be screwing in the deck screws. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm finishing up this top rail here with all the deck screws. I've got it all joined in together for a square. Now I'm using the 3-inch framing nails at the corner. I'll do all the corners. I'm nailing it into that top board that the screws went down into the wood and holding it. So there's the board I just nailed. You can see it's riding up on the ledge. That's what it looks like. On all four corners, I installed these braces here. They're 2 feet long, the span, and they're cut at 45 degrees. The building was really wobbly. It's really firm now here on the bottom. I'm going to do that on the top as well. And you got to make sure that you're at level, because the frame isn't going to be right till you start tightening it up. Okay, for blocking, I wanted to show you something here. This is the blocking. This keeps your wood, these from turning and warping that want to bend. So it's an important aspect. It also helps give rigidity to the building. There's no plywood like sheathing. If this were going to be a garden shed or a bathroom, whatever, the sheathing on it would help hold it on the exterior walls. Anyways, let me show you 2 sticks here. This stick says 45 inches and this stick is 47¼ inches. And essentially what I do is you just stick it here and clamp it to the wall, and it gives you your exact measurement. You can just kind of tag along, makes it easier, and it keeps it square and level for a look of uniformity. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is flip this on. Go ahead and mark this here. I'm moving it over to the next side, and this is where I'll nail it. That's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the shot. Come in and put it in. Nice and snug. And I'm going to align it with that line. So I'm aligning it with the line, and I'm getting it flush here. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and nail it. Presto, done. And it gives it a nice look of uniformity. Now I'm doing the top bracing. The building is getting really firm and there's no plywood that's going to hold this together, so that's why all the extra bracing is going on. Okay, so I blocked the whole roof, quote unquote, or what you could call the joists running across the top area. Now we're getting to the door. So, checking it for square. Looks good. Okay, the board that's leaning over here at the doorway opening is 6 feet 6 inches, the cut. The reason why I chose it to be that size is that I'm 6 feet tall and I wear a hat all the time when I come out in the garden. It's very sunny up here. I live in zone 10A. So I am going to make it 6 feet 6 inches so my hat doesn't get knocked off and I have no problems. And the door will be 36 inches wide, which will easily accommodate wheelbarrow, no problem. And so the custom door is there. Okay, so here is the 6 foot 6 inch board. I'm going to nail it to this one, get it. There's a little warp in the board, but the nails will take care of that. Now that's a problem with lumber is, you gotta find warps. That's why blocking and all of these other things help really firm up the building, but they also help you keep the studs straight. So I've got my 6.5 foot by 3 foot wide opening for my door. It's gonna be time now for me to make my door. So here I am in my miter saw. I've got it set up for 45 degrees. I'm going to go over the rough of my door here. Let me zoom in and I will talk to you briefly about it. So I made some plans for this here to cut it. I'm going to make the cuts at 77 1/4. and 35 3/4. All the corners are going to be at 45 degrees so I can get a longer bite and put wood glue in and make that work for me. But you can see I have bracing here, 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 and here. That's all going to be 45. Then I'm running across over here for support in the center, and then I'm going to be adding bracing here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have a lot of angle cutting to do. Here's my first cut. So 45 once again, set at 45. So I've got the outside frame cut at 45 and I've got it together. Show you a few things here that are really important. Here are the diagonals. You measure both sides. They both come out to 85 inches. That's equal there, so get rid of that. And I've also got a T-square here to help keep me aligned. You can see it lines up just right. And what I'm going to be doing is using this Type Bond Ultimate wood glue. It's type 3. It's waterproof and it's exterior, interior. No good. And this will give me time to work with it. I need to make any changes. It'd be easy to pull the nails out if you make a mistake. You can still bend it, tweak it. You start putting in really heavy fasteners and it won't budge. I'm going to put in the corner bracing. Okay, so everything is nailed down. I'll come in tomorrow and screw it together. Once again, checking for square. Here you can see it's square. Here you can see that I've got the screws in, laid out, just to show you how many that need to be used here. I know this is hard to see. I'm at 1 1/4 inch here to make a notch to support or join the crosses together. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. 1 1/4. So here's the notch. Just join it in and see how it looks. I just decided to add some more blocking. It's a 45-degree cut. It's short for the ends. I'm going to go ahead and show you one of the cuts and it in place. It's not on my little plans that I drew up. So let me go ahead and show you. So this is cut at 45. I'm going to come right down on the edge here and cut that line. And it's going to go in like this. So this wood glue is paintable. So if you get some on the wood and you go, uh-oh, I'm in trouble, you don't have to worry about it if you're painting it. And it really has a nice bond. I trust this glue. I'll be doing these next here. the door is finished, the rough and everything, I'm going to let the glue dry for 24 hours and I'll paint over it. So here's the first coat of paint. So I'm using Alex Fast Dry. It's a really good caulk for this kind of work. It's excellent. Used it for years, siding and so on and so forth. You can paint it in 20 minutes, which is excellent. Keep the time down, you know, to make this project go much faster. You can see that I filled in some of the seams to make it tie together, and I think it gives it a more uniform look. So here's the structure. It's painted. It is very sturdy. Those angle cuts up there at the top and of course the bottom really helped firm it up, as well as the blocking there. It's really firm. I was up there painting it. I had to pull myself through each square to get up there to paint, and it just felt really nice and strong. Very safe. Basically the whole building is on the outside perimeter 8 by 8 feet, so I'm going to be trimming it down to just under 8 feet at not 96 but 95 3/4, with the 96 inches being 8 feet. And I'll show you, there we go. And I'm going to use a pair of tin snips, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that. It makes this cutting of the wire very easy. Okay, so I've got it cut the size I need to go up on the roof. This is going to be the harder panels to install. And I've got a little bungee cord here hooking it up, so it makes it easy to get it up on the ladder. I don't want to try to hold this thing, so I'm going to let it do the work for me. I'll be using Arrow 3/8 inch or 10 millimeter stainless steel staples on the wire. And let's see what I can do about getting up on that ladder and showing you what I'm doing. Okay, here I am up on the ladder. I'm going to go ahead and do the roof. I'm going to start here. I'll show you what I did just to make it lay down. Put a couple of bungee cords, aligned it, and I'm going to go ahead and align it and go ahead and get ready to staple it down. So I've stapled all the way across. There's no other staples, and I'm going to begin to work my way up incrementally and trying to get out as much of the slack as possible as I go. So that end is definitely unstapled. It'll be the last end that I staple. Okay, so I've got the first panel in. Everything went according to plan. Measurements were good. So a 4-foot by basically 8-foot panel just fit in. Stapled nicely, a lot of staples. Here it is, the top is done. And I'll show you the staples. There's, I don't know, 350 staples. Here we go, you can see how close they are together. And that should hold up very well. Very, very well. And here's a corner. Have a look at it. Staples running quite a bit. So if you wanted to gauge that, those were 1/2 inch squares. You could literally count them. All the major panels within this building. To start at the top, let me show you. There is only staples at the top, and I'll slowly work my way down from the top, going right and left, keeping this as level and even as possible, and it will eventually attach to that bottom. And I'll show you the finished panel. And I'm going to put stripping on it, so I'm using less staples than on the roof. I'm not going to strip the roof. Okay, so I had to bend the wires in certain corners to make it fit, and stapled it on. Wanted to show that to you. Bending wire using a straight edge. So there's my bend. There you go. Okay, 90 degrees, and I'll push in whatever I need to do when I install it. So here's one that is completed. You can see there's an overlap. So it is overlapping, and they're stapled in. There we go. I'm leaving the front side open for now so I can install my door very easily. Let's go do that. Okay, I've got my hinges laid out, and I'll go ahead and show you what I'm doing here on some close-ups. The hinges came with 3/4 inch wood screws. I decided that I wanted to get a deeper bite, so I went with a 2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and install those, and that'll support this. This door weighs approximately 15 to 18 pounds, and so I'm going to go ahead and sink in 3 of these. I use shims to get it as square as possible to install the hinges. You can see they're in. Same method used. So here's another view, backside view. The door is open. I need to install wire in the front. I held off on it because I tied the door in loosely and put shims in it till I got it right. Yeah, I've got the door in and the wire's all on. Do some trim work. There we go. Zoom in on the hinge. There we go. Here is the trim that I'm going to put on the interior where I stapled. It's going to hold 2 purposes. One is aesthetic. It's going to look a little better. You won't see so many staples. And B, if a raccoon or a larger animal comes and pushes on the wire, they may be able to stretch it, but it'll be very hard to be pulled out because I'll be nailing it. I'm going to be driving in these trim boards here, and I've got one set up down there to show you. It's right down there in the corner. You're done with the trim and the support board. I'm at the door and I'm going to install an 8-inch stainless steel handle. I use the handle as a pattern and I pre-drilled some very small holes. The handle is in. Looks alright. And we're going to go ahead and show you this latch. There's my lock. It's handmade. I used a 1x2 the trim, cut it, painted it. Let me show you how this thing operates. Okay, so this is a galvanized nail. I just painted it red, so you always remember it's here. This is the sole latch. I used a lag screw, and essentially I used 2 washers on each side, one smaller than the other, and you want to use something like this without thread so that this can move freely. So let me show you how it operates. You pull out the nail and then you turn it. That's pretty obvious, and you go, okay, well, that's fine, but here's the key. If you were to, let's say, leave this cocked and close this, you'd snap it off, and you would also might lose this nail. So what you do is you stick it into this hole, and it guarantees that A, your nail is held fast, but it keeps that latch from turning down here and busting your door. So I thought that was kind of cool. Thought I'd show that to you. So I'm done for the day. I close it and I come in and stick it in. You can see I've laid wire down, same mesh, 1/2 inch. And you can see even those corners, I'm going to drop wire in there and then drop 3/4 inch drainage gravel on it to help lock it in place, and it will. And let me show you over here too. It's all over the floor. I don't want any critters coming in and eating my vegetables. I've got them from the ground, the trees, and even from the sky. You got birds that like to peck your food. Should work effectively. Here are the corners. You can see it in here. It just slips right in. So let's see what kind of rocks we got, what color they are. Oh, big change. Very nice. Make a nice looking floor. Nice. I'm going to be using the open loop here with the closed loop here, or it's called a hook and eye. So this board is going to hold my trellis. I set them opposite, so when the nets, this is threaded through the net, it has something to hold it and hold on to. Gravity will hold it in place nicely. Here is the door view of the trellis support system. Okay, so I've got it all set up here. On the right there are 2 cucumbers. Those are straight 8s. Over here is Super Sweet 100 indeterminate. It's going to get big and hopefully it lays really nicely into that netting. And on the left side I have the big boy. It's indeterminate as well down there. You can see it pretty well, I think. It gets really big and bushy, so I'm hoping to get a lot of yield. And over here on the left, I'm going to be putting in 2 more cucumbers. They're the muncher cucumbers. I got 2 of those, so I have 4 cucumbers and 2 tomatoes indeterminate. Hopefully they reach for the sky and get up to 8 feet. And you can see over here on the left, I'll go ahead and swing the camera up and show you. I've got my water line hooked up, so I can water in here. Yeah, I do layers. I don't use them everywhere, as I stated clearly in my video. This is a cooler part of my yard. The other one is on the east side of my yard. I'm on the west. The other one gets hit by the sun all day. This one, it gets it for about 6 to 7 hours. So we'll go 12 versus 6 to 7. This one's just fine. Hey, this is kind of cool. I like this. It's called the fire hose nozzle. Well, so that's how my small vegetable garden sanctuary was built. And I thank you for watching.